Okay, so we get to the fifth step. I'm thinking about the structure and form of the poem. When we look at the opening, we have an opening that puts this in a kind of confessional, anecdotal voice. And we see then that the poem itself is going to function as some kind of autobiographical confessional, and that the anecdote is going to be important. It's going to have a narrative structure, and that it's going to be of personal value. What we then see, I think, in this extremely free verse, the lines, syllabic metrics range from kind of 6 to 7 all the way up to kind of 15 and 16. So we have these incredibly sort of ebbing and flowing shifts in the length of the lines that I think give us a sense of undulating sort of emotive passion. And we look here at this truncated line that emphasizes the distinctive pragmatic approach of the mother. She pushed and shoved. And we look further down, and that single truncated line where she's used again shows us that it's her relief. It was finally over and nothing else could burn. Those short lines seem to show us the sort of pragmatic sensible kind of attitude of the mother. And I think they contrast quite starkly with these sort of proliferating long lines here that gradually build until we have this climactic moment at the end of the first stanza where the father's schadenfreude is being expressed most powerfully. And then there's a sort of ebbing and flow of that as it dwindles away a little into the second stanza. So the line lengths, I think, offer a contrast between the roles of the mother and the father in this particular piece. The form itself is in a two-stanza a confessional anecdote, and that shifts us through that sequence of giving us the background to the father's disenfranchisement, giving us the central climax of the father's pleasure in destruction, and then showing us the significance of this particular moment to the child, and the way that the poem ends with this sense of conclusion that comes from an understanding of the difficulty that the father has in connecting with the child. So we've got a number of different structural points there that you would want to emphasize individually. Is the form of the poem is this confessional anecdote split across two stanzas that tell in a very fluid way a transition story, moving from ignorance to awareness. Line lengths that I think deliberately create contrasts between the role of the father and the role of the mother, and by implication then give us reasons for the child's difficulty in relating to the father. And then finally, that sense of proliferating energy that is evident in these extremely expansive lines that capture the climax of the poem, that I think explosively underline the father's schadenfreude, his perhaps even his class envy, his sense of disenfranchisement, his sense of alienation. All of those things are being emphasized through those proliferating, expansive line lengths in the climactic moment of the poem.